Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or much will depending on your location. Please join in the struggle to liberate our people from the contraption. Like and share videos. Today is Tuesday. I bring news update. The demand for a referendum remained my goal, unless those opposing wholesome restructuring of the country repent. That's according to S0Ñ'S Kanu. Now, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, S0Ñ'S Kanu, Onyendo himself, made a world-class statement or a world-class speech when his brother, the younger brother, Emmanuel Kanu, popularly called Kanuta, visited him at the DSS dungeon. Now, Onyedumazidam Kanu told the international community, the whole world, why he is agitating for freedom, and that agitation for freedom or referendum will continue. He said, even being incarcerated unjustly, detained illegally, will not stop him from asking for a referendum. So he will continue to ask for Igbos liberation or liberation of the Igbos, the Southeasterners, the Biafrans. So he will continue to do that. He will continue to ask for referendum. No retreat, no surrender, he said. All right. S0Ñ'S articulated the points, the reasons behind his struggle for freedom, for referendum, for the Biafrans. He blamed the Southeastern governors, particularly those who were governors in 2017, for obstructing and disrupting, yes, the golden opportunity presented for dialogue by invading his homestead. Instead of dialogue, a golden opportunity came upon that moment for discussions, the way forward. But the governors then, the Southeastern governors, in collaboration with the federal government, disrupted that opportunity. In a world-class statement, he said, quote, "We are not averse to the genuine restructuring of the country. We know that the country cannot grow or make progress under the current unworking unitary structure. The facts are clear for all to see. Our position remains the same as our submission in the presence of Professor Ben Nwabueze and Evangelist Elliot Ugochukwu on 30th August 2017 at the meeting with the Southeast governors in Enugu. We have no reason to add or subtract from our position 6 years ago. We reiterate that we are not opposed to a consensual but wholesome restructuring of the country along the 1963 Constitution. Those who disrupted the 2017 peace process only engineered and activated the unpleasant experiences of the past 3 years. Had they allowed the second meeting of September 15, 2017 to hold, meaningful outcome would have been long achieved. The unprovoked invasion of my family homestead on September 14, 2017, which led to the untimely death of dozens of citizens and inspired the demise of my parents, created the unsavory atmosphere that engulfed the region moving forward. Biafra land should be rebuilt and brought to equity with other regions of the country. The growing agitation for the restoration of Biafra was born out of deep-seated injustice against Biafrans by the Nigerian state. Those determined on riding fellow citizens as donkeys should understand that their refusal to treat every region fairly is at the root of agitation for justice and equality. The people of the region desire to be treated fairly and treated right. We stand by our demand for justice, equity, and fairness for all. This is our position. My position has remained unchanged for very many years, regardless of my unjust and unfair incarceration. Our demand for a referendum to determine whether our people will choose to remain in the country that has so unkindly treated us for decades remains our goal, unless those opposing the wholesome restructuring of the country repent. We are resolute because the oppressor leaves us no choice. Since the 1980s and the 1990s, every plea to return the country to the 1963 Constitution has sadly fallen on deaf ears, leaving us no choice than to find any avenue that will guarantee a safe future and better tomorrow for our unborn grandchildren. We have no regrets whatsoever, articulating a better future for our progeny. Being mocked consistently over our earlier demand for an early return to true federalism and devolution of powers. we saw we had no other choice than to work towards a referendum to determine our future, our decision and preference for our own country, where our children will be fairly treated, is as a result of the unacceptable, unabating mistreatment since 1966. First, the horrendous pogroms, then the bitter war, the deliberate disempowerment after the war, that's the 20 pounds offer, the scorched earth policy and war of attrition viciously visited our region ever since, the deliberate denial of critical federal government-driven basic infrastructure such as a functional commercial seaport, railways, international airport with cargo wing, dry port, that's container terminal, greater electricity generation, export-free zone, and east-west railway and road network that will help our people feel like being truly part of the country, confirms our second-class status, which we reject. The unkind marginalization we have suffered as a region since 1970 is only possible because of the centralized structure enabled by the unitary 1999 Constitution. We remain committed to our demand for a referendum, as long as those who totally oppose to the restructuring of the country along the lines of true federalism and power devolution continue to resist the cry for a new, fair, just, and equitable constitution along the lines of the 1963 Republican Constitution. We will be betraying our people and selling away their future if we continue to wobble along in this unhelpful 1999 unitary constitution designed and written and given by unelected soldiers. I led marches in the UK pleading for a consensual restructuring of the country via a constitutional conference and the enthronement of our new people's constitution all through the 1990s. We were marked and ridiculed consistently by a small clique of compatriots who claimed they were born to rule. Their stiff opposition to a peaceful restructuring of the country made agitation inevitable. They are simply telling us to go to hell and do our worst. At the meeting with the Southeast governors on 30th August 2017, I pleaded with the governors to plead with Mr. President to begin the early restructuring of the country along the lines of true federalism and devolution of power back to the 1963 Constitution. I also pleaded for affirmative action to expedite immediate construction of the earlier mentioned, deliberately denied infrastructure on our region. The response was a vicious military attack to violently eliminate me on the 14th of September 2017, a day before the follow-up concluding meeting. End of quote. And look at the statement of the leader of the Indigenous People of Biafra, Kanu. Yes, world-class statement indeed. Yes. So that is it. Let the world deal with it. Let the Nigerian government deal with it. Let them know what they're doing. Biafra liberation, Biafra freedom is sacrosanct. The leader of the IPOB, who is in the detention dungeon, or this is dungeon, rules and shakes the world. He's telling them, look, Biafra must go. Freedom is sacrosanct. There's no